Hello and welcome to Indies on Indie. I'm your host, Patrick Poe, and yesterday was my birthday. That's cool, I guess. I think. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, that's how I feel about birthdays. But I had a good birthday. I had fun. I've had a fun couple of days, actually, spending time with my wife. I had a really nice dinner with my wife. We went to see some movies over the course of this week because that's what I like to do. I like to see movies. I like to make movies. Movies are fun. Birthdays are okay, I guess. Um, Mixed emotions. You probably understand. And if you don't, I don't know how to go into it better than that. Last time I talked to you guys, I was just heading down to Mulvane, Kansas, for the Doc Sunback Film Festival, and now I'm back. I'm back in my house again. This is me from my house talking to you, but it was really fun. We shared a house in Wichita with Toddy Brothers Productions, so IX Toddy Brothers in a house. I spent all of my time with them over the course of a handful of days, and I still like them. We're still great friends. I love those guys. I could spend all the time in the world with them, and it's wonderful. And it was great to go to the festival. I love film festivals, and I have said it a million times on this podcast, and I'll probably say it a million more times that there is really nothing like seeing an audience see your film. And this was the first time we'd screened Silent but Deadly, our new short, and I didn't know how it was going to go because I'd seen like one or two friends that I showed it to on my cell phone. I showed them the short and they giggled and that was fun. But seeing an audience watch it was totally different, and I got all nervous and butterfly-y right before it screened, and then the moment people start laughing, I relax, and then it's fun, and it's the most thrilling thing. And so it's fun going from totally nervous and feeling like you're going to vomit to totally elated and best feeling in the world in the course of our 3 minute short. It's a lot of emotions to have in 3 minutes. But it was great, and I was really happy with how it screened, and I now want to send it to more festivals because I initially wasn't sure how it would do in a festival setting. I thought it was more of a YouTube short, but it's fun to watch it in a festival. So I'm going to send it to more festivals. Oh, and we got into another festival with our short, Dangerous Proposal. It's going to Laramie, Wyoming in a couple of weeks at the end of August. So that's cool. Another wonderful festival experience. And I didn't say how much I love Doc Sunback. I feel like I didn't say that enough. I love the festival. We saw a bunch of friends from past festivals. We saw our friends from America's Front Porch, and those guys are amazing. And we saw their new short film that me and Lolo are both in, and that was a lot of fun to see. You should check them out. I mean, if you regularly listen to this podcast, you've got to listen to 3 episodes with them. And if you don't regularly listen, and you're like, who are these people? You can go back and listen, and you can find out who these people are. And it's awesome. We also saw our friends from Illumination Cinema and their new short. Well, we saw a short that they helped make, and then I missed the shorts block that had their short in it, because the worst thing about film festivals is how hard it is to see every film, because I really want to see every film, but I also want to see my film as many times as possible. And so sometimes I miss films and I feel bad. But hopefully a lot of the people I met, they gave me a screener, and so I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch their film. I promise. So if you gave me a way to watch your movie, I promise I will watch your movie. So that's going to happen. We also saw our friends from Stack Deck Studios, Ben Schatzel. We've talked to him on here before. And their new film, Dark Traces. It was cool to see it finished, because when I talked to him a year ago, I saw a rough cut before that. But now I saw the finished film. And that's always a blast to see the finished film and see progress made. And we made more friends, and we saw more films, and just the festival. I love the Doc Sunback Film Festival. It's an amazing festival. I love Nancy, Sherry, Kenny, and all the other people that make it a possible thing to have happen, because they run an incredible festival, and they have a filmmaker roundtable that's the most important part of the festival, because it's the moment where we all get to actually speak to each other and discuss our craft of filmmaking and why and how we do this crazy art form. And it's a really beautiful element that they've incorporated into their festival. And they put an level of importance on curating filmmakers meeting each other, which is what festivals should be for. Like, getting our films in front of an audience is great, and building our audience is wonderful, but it's even more wonderful to make new friends and connections within our industry. So I love them, and thank you to them for putting it on. I'm gonna get Nancy on this podcast. If you're listening to this, Nancy, I want you on the podcast. My picture was also in the Mulvane newspaper, so that was cool. It said filmmaker Patrick Poe, and a bunch of other people. It wasn't just me. It wasn't like they were like, Patrick Poe is great. It was me talking to a bunch of people in the like VIP lounge at the film festival. They took a picture. I didn't even know it was happening, but they just snapped a photo. It said filmmaker Patrick Poe, and then a bunch of other people. So that was cool that I was in that photo, and I'm in the newspaper, and I'm a huge deal in my own head. But then I came home and had what I call the festival blues for a little bit, because film festivals are so great, and it kind of is this little like glimpse into the life that I want to be having all the time, of screening my films and just being fully immersed in film. And then I come home and there's a lot of work to be done, and there are people that don't know me as a filmmaker. Yeah, I don't really know what it is, but if you're a filmmaker out there and you get the festival blues like I do, just know that you're not alone. It's a weird moment going from the festival where everything is super exciting for a whole weekend to then just going back to your everyday regime. And I think it was even added on that was my birthday right after that, so it was kind of like a weird time to go back to the regular, if that makes sense. We do have a great episode for you today. I absolutely love our guest, like love her. I love her. I'm totally, absolutely in love with today's guest. She is super hardworking. Like, she's so hardworking, it inspires me. And like, I feel like I work pretty hard and do a lot of things, and she, I feel like, is beating me at that. So she's really inspiring to me. She's also a very kind person and has even helped us with our most recent feature film. She actually gave us a location. Her location is featured in our new feature film, and we couldn't have done it without her. And I thank her so much for helping us out. You might know her from Top Chef season 13. She was on that, and she was super cool. You could know her from her appearances on local television, from her podcast Playing with Fire, which is out and you can go listen to it. You could know her from her really awesome Instagram, where she posts pictures of all the amazing places she travels and the food that she eats and the amazing food that she makes. And her Instagram is great. I'm just going to check her out on Instagram. She's a great person to follow. Great top-notch Insta content for you. Or you could know her from one of the other billion projects she's done or is doing or is working on, because she's always doing stuff. She does so much. As a person who does a lot, she does even more, I think. Like I said, it's kind of repetitive. I already said that, but it's just surprising to me. And I'll say it a million times in this podcast, because it's inspiring how hard she works. And I was super excited to talk to her, because I consider myself like a foodie, like a food guy. I'm really into food. That's one of my guilty pleasures, is different foods. Sometimes really expensive food that excites me, that's like at a nice sit-down restaurant. But also I get really excited by Taco Bell, or like really cheap garbage food that makes me really happy too. So I can be excited by all foods. But I don't have the best relationship with food. So that's another reason I was excited to talk to her, to see what it's like for her, because I struggle with that. Like, this is what I want in the moment, and this is what I want myself to be eating over a period of time. And I've been trying to get into a different kind of shape for the past couple of years, trying to really improve my physical well-being through food and what I'm eating. And sometimes I go overboard, I think, and cut too much out. And sometimes I go the other way and eat too much not good foods for myself. So I was very excited to talk to her about that. And she had very interesting views on all of this. I'm super excited to let you hear it, so I might as well. Oh, did I mention the cool thing is that she biked to my house. Yeah, that's how amazing she is that she biked to my house to come record this interview. She rode her bike to my house, which is impressive to me because I didn't learn how to ride a bike till pretty late in life, and I'm not great at it. But she biked to my house and had enough energy to be as over the top energetic as she is in this interview after biking to my house. So here you go. Without further ado, here's me and Renee Kelly. Someday I plan to maybe move it all the way to the garage because then like there's no cats, there's no dog.
It's okay.
But the garage is like one of those places where all the things go to someday get organized.
Yes.
So
totally understand. I just moved. We cleaned out the castle and right. Everything that I couldn't find a home for, found a temporary home in my garage. Yeah. Yeah, I was like, am I okay with this?
Is this where it needs to be? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, we built a set in our garage. Like, I cleaned it up, and it was beautiful, and I loved it. I was like, this is the perfect garage. This is the goal. And then we couldn't find one location for the way it goes. So I built 3 walls, and
that was the location.
That's what this is from. We
didn't
have
a
location. Hospital. So we built a hospital room. We got a gurney from a theater. We got the IV pole.
Look at you.
And we built our hospital room.
I love it.
But then somehow taking the set down didn't get the garage clean again. Like, I don't know.
No.
I don't know what happened there. It was perfect. It was clean. It was beautiful. And then as the set came down, I was like, now it's a mess.
Now it's not okay anymore.
What happened here and how do I fix it?
No.
I still don't know the answer.
No.
I don't know.
Doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay, what are we going to talk about today?
Oh my, just you mostly.
Me?
Yeah,
my
this
favorite
is just
topic.
really casual, and
okay,
we just
cool.
like sit and we chat about you and like
my whole entire
all of your wonderfulness.
ever-changing stuff.
That's something great though, like is how fluid I feel like everything just is for you. Like you're just so peppy and just like always like going with it.
Oh God, all the things. It's always changing. People are like, we want to hear your story. And I am always like, which one story did you want me to tell?
Well, that's such an interesting thing because like I obviously project myself into where I want to be, so I think about being more famous than I am
of
all
course.
the time because that's what I should be doing.
Why not?
Exactly. And so I always like I'll listen to a podcast like Mark Maron's podcast or like go watch a Conan interview or anything and be like, oh, someone's gonna ask me my story someday, and there are so many different ways to build it.
There are
and like
so many
perspectives. Like it's like what aspect do you want? Because that's all you can't get a whole story.
No, it would take years.
Well, I mean,
hear
that's
the story.
Your story's taken as many years as your life has
This is
been.
true.
And so you can't like.
Yeah, which aspect? What angle? What angle? What angle do we want to do? Do we want to talk the rom-com side of this? Do we want to do the mystery? Do we want to do the drama? The tragedy? Yeah, there's so much.
There's so much.
There's so much. Yeah.
Well, I'll just tell you what I think's cool about you, and then
Okay,
we'll just
cool.
like see what
Okay,
kind of like
okay, sounds good.
we'll just kind of start like figuring this out
Okay.
as it goes. Because like I said, I'm really impressed in the fact that like I feel like you do so much.
Oh, thank you.
You do so much, which is funny from a person that I think I probably people always tell me I do a lot.
Uh-huh.
I think you're doing more than me.
Okay, cool. Thank you. That's a high compliment.
Yeah, no, because like I mean I follow you on Instagram, I follow you all over, and you're just like always traveling.
Yes.
You're always somewhere else.
Yes.
It's always exciting.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
And you've got so much going on.
I do all the time. Yes, because I think that there's a whole new world to see. So I have been in Kansas City for 16 years in a row, which is a lot for me to be in one place for that long of a time. Wow, that was even hard for me to say.
You can't even fathom it.
I can't even fathom it. So when I left Kansas City the first time when I was 18, I swore I'd never come back. And then I've been back for 18 years. So I went to college. Yeah, like that. Oh, gosh.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, I swore I'd never come back.
I'm never coming back.
Never coming back. And I've been back for 16 years. It's crazy. So, and then I did my own business. And we can talk about that. We'll touch on that in a little bit. And that morphed into several other things. And then here I am. I decided, you know what? There's a whole big wide world to see. I want to go see it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go experience it. And that's kind of what I've decided to do because, background cooking, you can cook anywhere. You don't even have to speak the same language.
I mean, everyone has to cook. Like, you know what I mean? Like, every culture, every grouping, everywhere.
Everybody
Anywhere
cooks.
There's humans, there's cooking.
There's cooking and there's eating.
Yeah.
So,
it's a requirement of being human.
Yes, it is a requirement of being human. Everyone has to eat, period. Yep. So I will always have a job. I will always know how to feed myself.
Yeah.
So I'm good. As a matter of fact, that's one of the reasons why I went to culinary school because I was trying to find myself after I failed miserably in pre-med down at Texas A&M. And I took art classes at JUCO and my teacher walked in the door and he's like, I'm a starving artist. Like literally, I have eaten my last package of ramen noodles and I have no more food and they haven't paid me yet. And it was like 9 months after he installed his beautiful bronze piece of artwork. And I consciously made the decision, all right, I'm going to culinary school because I will always have food.
If I will not be the starving artist.
I will never be the starving artist. If I go to culinary school, I will always have a job anywhere in the entire world. And then obviously I made that decision over and over and over again before I went to school. But
yeah.
So funny enough, traveling, oh my gosh, I've experienced just this year or the past, I would say the past 365 days. Lots of places. So Bonaire, I went scuba diving.
Where's Bonaire?
And I know.
So where
is Bonaire? I had to get out a map to find it. So it's off the coast of Venezuela.
Okay.
Next to Aruba.
Okay.
And Curacao. So it's called the ABC Islands.
Oh, okay.
In the Caribbean.
Okay.
It does not suck. At all. It does not suck.
Yeah, I wouldn't assume it would.
So very, the inland, there's cacti and there's, it's not super pretty on the, the inland part. And there's iguanas and lizards and all that stuff.
How did you end up there? Like what took you there?
Right. So last summer, my father asked me if I wanted to go scuba diving. And my dad is very stoic. He's very quiet. He's very mild-mannered. And he runs with a group of adrenaline-seeking junkie people. Like, I'm like, Dad, how do you find these people? So they convinced him because my dad's secretly on this very quiet, demure man that he is.
He's still seeking adventure.
He seeks adventure.
Is he just as quiet and like stoic during these adventures?
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Absolutely. I'm like, Dad.
That's the most interesting character I've ever heard.
Totally interesting. You might get a little laugh and a little snicker out of him on occasion, but he's just very, very quiet. It's remarkable.
And so you're just the opposite.
Totally. Totally. So he's like, a couple of years ago, about 4 years ago, he decides to get certified in scuba diving. And I'm just like, what?
Okay.
Who are you, Dad? Well, then he tells
Here
me
in Kansas City? Or?
yes, there is the dive shop in Merriam, just right, not too far away from here. Does scuba certification.
Yeah.
And I did not know that
I know this because I've been a lifeguard almost my whole life.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. Lifeguard, I've taught swim lessons, so I know a lot of scuba instructors. And every time they tell me that, I'm like, here
really?
though? Like
here.
What's the point of being like you
we're
can teach
literally,
scuba.
Yes.
You could go anywhere else. That's better.
I know.
Any coast, you could teach scuba there.
We are literally in the center of a gigantic continent that is landlocked.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
This is amazing. Yeah. So, he gets scuba certified and I'm just flabbergasted by this whole entire thing. And then I start to meet these adrenaline junkies that he's running with. I'm like, oh, they put you up to this.
Okay.
So then he asked me last summer if I would do it.
So this is your new crew? Is your dad and his friends?
My dad and his friends. I'm like, this is kind of
Are
awesome.
they all like his age?
They're all his age, a little bit younger.
Okay.
And then they kind of bring their kids along
there was
with
a small
them as
part
well.
of me that wanted you to be like, no, I didn't hang out with like a bunch of 20-year-olds. Like they're out going to craft breweries.
Still in college.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. My dad is secretly seeking a husband for me right now. That's his like MO. He's like, no, I'm going to learn how to scuba dive to find you a husband. That's fine. So he asked me to get certified and I'm like, okay. I don't get certified until January. The trip's in February. And it is like the most stressful thing that I've ever done yet.
Scuba diving?
The certification. Oh my gosh. I'm like having a panic attack. I go to my lovely instructor. I love this man dearly. His name is Sarge. Sarge, this one goes out to you. You were awesome to put up with me. We have a small class and I walk in on day number 3. It's a 4-day intensive training.
God.
I know,
that's a lot to learn in 4 days.
Totally. Plus we do the online learning as well. So it's
online learning.
It's so boring.
And I feel like I don't learn anything.
I feel like I just don't learn that way.
Yeah.
Like these poor kids in the education system right now, I would not absorb anything. I would be heavily medicated. If I was a kid today in the education system, I would just be like, I don't get it.
It doesn't work.
Like put me outside to play. I would be acting up on purpose. It just would not work for me. So I go in 3rd day of class and I immediately am like, I understand that there are 999 ways that I am going to die. I need to fall in love with the one way that I can live. Okay? That's your job today.
That's a great outlook on it though. That's a really good outlook.
So he did.
Cool.
He totally did. And everybody else in the class was like, I'm totally with her.
Yeah.
Can we do
the
this?
same? Yeah.
Can we do it the same way, please? And scuba diving was a blast. While I was down there, I cooked a little bit, as much as I could. I experienced, I did my checkout down there. I scuba dove more than I thought possible. And I am this amazingly weird person. When I was down scuba diving, I was talking to the fish, even though you have a regulator in your mouth. In my brain, I was talking to the fish and to the water.
You're like Aquaman. It's cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And all of my dad and now my adrenaline-seeking friends were amazing to be around. We already have a trip booked next year.
I was going to ask, what's the next trip?
Yep. To Bonaire next year. And then
same
my
place.
next trip will be Costa Rica. And I'm going to figure out a resort that I can cook at later on this year. So I'll go down there and cook. Like whenever I say, hey, I'll cook.
I'll come and guest.
I'll come and guest chef. They're like, okay.
Nice.
So it's kind of nice.
It's a good way to see the world.
I know. Guatemala for coffee harvest.
I saw all of that, and I don't know why it was so interesting.
Oh, excuse me.
Like the
Nicaragua.
coffee stuff.
I'm sorry, Nicaragua.
Oh, okay.
Pardon that, Nicaragua. Coffee harvest.
I was sitting here in my brain thinking, I need to ask her about the coffee. I don't know why, but I really felt like I needed to.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I will tell you, there is an ounce of corruption in every single cup of coffee that all of us drink. which
I
is a little
believe
bit of a
that.
sad story, but it was the coolest thing ever to witness. Did you know that it all started with donkeys?
No.
Coffee?
No.
Yeah. So, this little farmer saw his donkeys up on a mountain eating from a plant, and the donkeys were acting all crazy
They were getting
afterwards and
high.
hyper. Yeah. And so he was like, what is this berry thing that they're eating? And it ended up being coffee.
Okay, so that's something that always intrigues me and I think about way too much.
Same.
Is like, how did someone then go from like the berry that's interesting to being like, all right, let's roast the seed.
Yeah.
And then we're going to like grind it, pour water on it.
Right.
Like
How
there's so
did
many
that-
steps to get to that.
Yes.
That like that guy is genius and crazy.
All of the above.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the company that we went to go visit, Gold Mountain Coffee Growers, I do believe that was the company that we visited, equally genius and crazy.
Okay.
Totally. So they are working diligently to raise the wages and really do some great work with the rainforest and protecting the rainforest and harvest methods and all of that fun stuff. But oh my gosh, it's such intense work. Like that's where that crazy side comes in and you're like, oh, wow, this is whoa. But then you get to thinking about how much is a cup of coffee at the gas station? I mean, it's
A couple bucks.
maybe.
Yeah, like Quick Trip, like $1, I think.
Yeah, maybe. And so how do you get that? I mean, it took me an
Yeah.
hour and 15 minutes to pluck berries from a berry plant tree. I don't know. They're kind of in between a tree and a bush and a plant. I don't know.
All of those things are plants. So plants.
Okay,
a good
plants.
Word.
We're just gonna go with
Plant
plant.
works. Yeah.
Foliage. So it took me like an hour and 15 minutes to pick an entire basket, which is equal to like 2 pounds of roasted coffee beans.
No way.
Right. So now I will
I
tell
mean,
you.
I bet they're a lot quicker than you.
They're
'cause
totally a
they've
lot
done it
quicker.
a lot longer.
Yes. So the little 75-year-old grandma doing it had, doubled.
Yeah.
Much quicker. But I'm sitting here going, how can that be possible? Because
Because they pay her nothing.
true statement. They pay her absolutely flipping nothing to sit there and pick these little coffee beans. But then it goes to the farmer. So each little farm
Yeah.
has their own like picking station. And all the beans go there. They get washed. And that red, beautiful crimson red skin kind of falls off. And then there's this like viscous mucus left that's very sweet. It tastes like honey. It's
So
called
did you
honey.
get to like taste a
Oh,
like,
yeah.
coffee?
Oh,
What is
yes.
that like? And why don't we eat that ever?
So
many questions.
I know, so many questions. So the outside is very tough. It's
Okay.
almost leathery.
Ooh.
That crimson color.
Yeah.
Okay. But the darker red, the more sugar the berry has. And so
Okay.
the sweeter the coffee and the sweeter the bean will be. And there's also a couple of other varietals of coffee berry that are yellow, which have an even brighter, as you would assume,
Yeah.
an even brighter and more floral flavor.
That's when you get like the light roast.
Yeah, so that's
yeah,
when you
yeah.
want to definitely do the light roast. Okay,
Yeah.
so then you have the little mucus after the skin is washed off. It literally tastes like honey.
Wow.
And if you've ever eaten an aloe plant or cactus or anything like
Yeah.
that, it's kind of like that
weird
texture that, yes.
Goo, but
Yes.
not.
Not.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All of those things.
We have so many aloe plants upstairs.
Okay.
We have one that will not stop growing second aloe plants. So it keeps reproducing plants.
So what's your address, just in case I get a sunburn?
yeah. Right here. Just come here and
Okay.
we'll give you. Do you want a plant? We can send you home with a plant.
Perfect. So it's like that, but it's very sweet. And now sometimes they'll take that coffee bean and just set them out to dry. That's called, I think, a honey fermentation. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Then other times they'll go ahead and wash all of that off just to get the bean. And then they'll do like a sun they'll do a sun roast, or they'll do a dry roast, or from there, like
There's so
the
many.
combinations are absolutely limitless.
Yeah.
Now back to, I think, your original question. This is amazing. How did I get there? Farmer Derek, who has like umpteen million followers on YouTube. Literally, we are in Kansas, the center of the country. He literally resides in the center of Kansas.
Okay.
Farmer Derek has millions of YouTube followers because he loves his cows and he always thinks outside of the box. He wants to do a video together, and we called and talked and chatted, and I was like, yes, I would love to do a video together with you sometime in June, something like that. Let's go have fun. We can cook on the farm, and I don't know, I like cows.
Play with some cows.
Let's play with some cows. He's notorious for he lined up his cows with his feed, and a satellite imaging came over. He poured out his feed in the shape of a smiley face. Satellite imaging came over and took a picture of all of his Black Angus cattle. And he was like, hey, have a nice day. Like, he does that type of stuff.
That's great.
Right.
That makes me, I need to find that photo. That's now my life goal.
And he summons his cows instead of, hollering for him or, things like that. He plays a trumpet for him.
It's amazing.
I know. He's just that guy.
He's
Farmer Derek. Yeah. He's just a great, cool guy.
So you went to a coffee farm with Farmer Derek?
I did.
That's
because
awesome.
After we got off the phone, 30 seconds later, he's like, I don't think I want to wait that long to like meet you and get to know you. You want to go to Nicaragua with me? I'm going to see if I want to do something with coffee. And I was like, yes, absolutely.
That's amazing.
I know. And that's kind of been my whole life.
Yeah.
That's like, hey, just completely out of naive circumstances. Like,
Yeah.
do you want to do this? Yes, absolutely.
So it is just like, I'm correct in my assumption of you. And then it is just like, you have this wonderful, like, bubbly energy that just exudes happiness, and you just follow the flow like I thought you did.
Totally. 1,000%.
Great. That kind of makes me happy that, okay, cool. I'm not wrong. You know what I mean?
You're totally right. You're totally on target. But I share these stories because people are like, are you for real? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's always been that way?
Yes.
Okay.
My first job, my first chefing job.
Okay.
I was down in Houston, and this kid, I was looking for a chefing job, and this kid came up to the school, and he was like, hey, we're looking for some people to work this tennis tournament. It's temporary work, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll totally be there. Let's do this. I walk in jeans and a t-shirt because I don't know
that you're like interviewing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and I was thinking that this place wasn't really anything special. Like, we barely had internet back then,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows what's
Who knows what's what? I mean, I looked nice.
Yeah.
For wearing jeans and a t-shirt. Just FYI, I don't wear jeans and a t-shirt to any type of interview. It happens to be the #1 private country club in the entire United States.
Oh.
But I get the job, and I work there for 2 years, and like that type of stuff.
So how did it turn from a temp job to you being full-time there?
I worked my
did good enough?
Patuski off, and they were like, hey, we need to do some layoffs, and I walked into his office, and I said, no.
Like, I'm going to keep working here.
Yeah, I was like, no, I'm going to keep working here because you know that I'm better than anybody else.
That's great.
And he was like, oh.
That's an important confidence and self-awareness to have, though.
I know. But like that type of stuff. And then that led into meeting some other people. And I've worked for, I've been at events where I worked for the late Charlie Trotter and Thomas Keller and Ming Tsai and so many.
Yeah, your resume is so incredible. It's impossible to remember.
Yeah,
like,
basically.
It's
not like this is so kind of insanity to admit. Most of the time I didn't even know what I was walking into until I opened the door, and I was like, oh, well then, there's Richard Blaze. How's it going?
Yeah.
All right, let's just let's just do this real quick. You know, those types of things. And I'm so grateful for it. And kind of being naive and, like you say, just following the energy.
Yeah.
Maybe has worked in my advantage.
Yeah, I think so. I would say so. Because you've done some incredible things. So I would
Yeah.
say it's definitely worked completely in your advantage.
I hope so. I'll just keep posting on Instagram. Maybe I'll get some more.
Yeah. Who knows? You might
Yeah.
find another Farmer Dave who wants to take you to
I
some
know.
other country.
I know. Let's see. Where do I want to go next? I haven't been to Spain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, right now a lot of your trips are more South America. You want to go to the other side of the world.
Let's let's tackle the other side of the world.
Yeah. I have a friend who made a documentary about coffee in India. If you need to go to some coffee farms in India, I can.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think, is that where it originated maybe?
I think so. I think
Yeah,
so.
donkeys in India.
Maybe.
A little
I don't know where.
mischievous donkeys in India.
I just know they have a big elephant problem in coffee plantations in India.
What?
Yeah, it's a huge elephant problem. There's a whole
Do they eat the berries or stomp on the berries or both?
Yes. Yeah, it's a both. Elephants will eat almost anything, and they will crush anything in their path to get to what they want to eat.
Believe all of that.
Yeah. So it's a big problem of like it's illegal to kill an elephant,
Yes.
but it's also really frustrating as as like a coffee farmer to have your entire farm decimated. But yeah, either trampled
like
or
10
eaten
minutes.
in a matter of minutes.
Ah.
Exactly. And there's very few ways to deter an elephant from going where an elephant wants to go.
I would not even know where to begin.
Yeah. Yeah.
How are you like shoo elephant?
And like if you disturb it
Shoo.
too much, then it'll start an elephant stampede and there's even more coffee gone. And it's just so that like they've built walls, but like
How
it's
interesting.
an elephant. Like they'll
It's
just
an
push them over.
elephant.
Like it's
don't
an elephant.
even.
Yeah.
Don't even try.
So it's a big like war, elephants versus coffee farmers. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I learned something new today.
There you go. There's a great documentary, Elephants in the Coffee.
Okay. Elephants in the coffee.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So you left. I'm gonna go to the beginning. And
Okay,
I'm gonna try
beginning.
to track this story a little bit.
Let's go for it.
You left Kansas City
I did.
at 18
Yes.
to go be a doctor.
Yes.
So you went to Texas,
Yes.
and that didn't work out at all.
No. Not at all. Oh my gosh. Okay. So let's just start right there. Went to Texas A&M for their biomedical science program. And this is another, I guess my first experience of that total naivete experience happened then because
Just following the...
yeah.
Because the plan was to leave Kansas. That was really...
completely like never turn back.
So why Texas?
Yeah. So why Texas? If you really want to know the truth, I was looking for a cowboy. They are not in Texas. So I was going to become a doctor and marry myself a cowboy, and it was going to be great.
On a farm cowboy was the goal, or just a guy who like dresses like a cowboy?
I think on the farm.
You like really wanted
I really wanted
the farm life.
Yeah, like rancher, cowboy.
Okay. You were already in Kansas. You were really close
I
to
know,
it.
like I'm in Kansas. I probably had a better luck finding a cowboy in Kansas
Yeah.
than going to Texas and looking for one there. So I got into Texas A&M first chance getting into Texas A&M. I'm out of state. They don't really take a lot of out of state students. If they do take out of state, they take out of country first, and then they go back through and take out of state. So like I was like super lucky. Awesome. I used to be really smart back then too. I used to study real hard. I learned that I learned differently when I'm down, like when I was in college. I don't really like to read and comprehend too well. And
You're more experiential.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like you just told me all about how coffee farming works, but it's because you were on a coffee farm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could probably sit down and write a book or dictate a book about coffee farms now, and everybody would totally understand it.
Yeah.
If you made me read about that, oh, good God. Terrible.
Yeah.
So same type of deal. When I got to a big campus, it just did not work with my brain at all. So failed miserably, did not come home with a cowboy husband
Oh,
at
so
all.
disappointing.
I know, completely disappointing. Like I failed at all things. But the one thing that I did miss was cooking. Because
Okay.
when I was growing up, my mom cooked, my grandmother cooked, and it was just something that we just did. You know, it was just like the
Yeah.
hearth of the home. All of us cooked and got together, and I learned at a very young age that I could barter things with food. You know, like everybody needs to
Everybody needs to
eat.
eat. Well, yeah.
So come on. And I just really missed it. So I was like, okay, well, maybe I can go to culinary school. It's something that's really easy for me to do. And when I was kind of trying to find myself for the first of
when you're
many times, then I was at an art classes
Had
at
the art
Johnson County.
experience.
Had that art experience, and I was like, well, let's go to
What
culinary
kind
school.
of art were you interested in?
I did a little bit of drawing and graphic design work before
Okay.
it was a huge thing. God, my teacher was nasty. She was a very like begrudging, angry woman.
She was angry that like graphic design had changed and
Yes.
it had left her behind.
And she was stuck teaching, and I was like, this woman is not inspiring. I cannot do this.
Yeah.
And I was interested in graphic design work because I found it fascinating. Like
Yeah.
computers, they can do so much. She was not interested in.
Don't you love those begrudging teachers?
Oh my gosh!
I went to Pittsburgh State University.
Okay.
It's a couple hours south of here. And I was in the English program. I was going to be a writer. That
Yes,
was the goal.
of course.
To be in the English program, they had a class that had the dumbest name. It was Introduction to English Studies, I think.
Okay.
And its entire purpose was the same teacher taught it every semester.
Oh God.
And every English major had to take this class. And the class was her. She would come in each day and be like, all right, these are the things you can do with an English degree. None of them will make you money. Your life is meaningless. You'll never have money. You're going to starve and die. And like, she would like point people out. She'd be like, all right, so what do you want to do with your English degree? And they'd be like, I want to be a writer. That was me.
Yeah.
And she'd be like, not going to work. Need a different plan. What do you want to be? I want to be a journalist. There aren't enough jobs. You're going to need a different job. And she's like, oh, that's the whole class?
Yes.
3 days a week?
That
Like,
is so
oh my God.
stellar. Like, let me just stifle all of your hopes and dreams
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Every English major went through that class.
Oh, that's so lovely.
I was like, just because like you ended up teaching at Pitt State and you don't love it, doesn't mean you need to tell 30 kids a week,
yeah.
3 days a week to quit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of my experience when I went down to Texas A&M. Like, it basically was like, I hate my life, and so I'm going to have all of you hate your life.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Now, the program, I'm sure, cranks out many great doctors and veterinarians and everything else.
Yeah.
My favorite class, the most remarkable class that I took was entomology, which is the study of bugs. Which comes into my life several times, because let me tell you what, I know if that fly has been eaten on a dead corpse or if it's just out of your trash.
Yeah? You can tell?
Totally tell.
What?
It's crazy. Because, how do I know this? Because when I was in culinary school, my associate came in to work and was like, hey, I think that my neighbor is dead. And I went over and I sat in his apartment above his so-called dead neighbor, and there was the corpse flying. Guess what? His neighbor was dead. I'm the one who was like, you go call the cops.
You learned that you learned that in etymology?
Totally did.
Oh my God.
I know, it was fascinating.
Well, now as a chef, I have to ask, how often do you eat bugs? Have you eaten any bugs? Any interesting bugs?
No. We here in the United States have really actually very clean, very safe food.
Well, no. My question is like, because I know that there are people that eat them as like a delicacy.
Oh,
like
yeah.
crickets or any of those. Have you done any of that?
Oh. Yeah. So, crickets, they're not bad. They're crunchy.
Yeah.
They're crunchy. They're kind of another form of salinity or saltiness.
Okay.
As far as like worms and stuff, they're just gross. Ants, the last time I went to Mexico in Puerto Vallarta, they literally will pick up ants off the street when they're in like egg laying season because they get real fat and they're like salty, sweet, crunchy. It's almost like they described it as
Weird.
eating popcorn. They're like, no, it's really good. You should try them. I'm like, yeah, I just can't.
I just can't.
I just can't do it. I don't like the sound of them when I squish them with my foot. Why would I like them closer to my ears and crunch on them when
Yeah.
they're in my mouth?
Yeah.
No. The other thing that this is my own personal preference. Organ meats, and things like chicken feet.
Yeah.
Sucking on toes. No, I cannot get on board with it.
I don't think I've ever had organ meats,
Okay.
but my mother-in-law's really interested in me trying them.
So,
and I just don't think I can get
try-
behind it.
Try. I have tried everything multiple times, and I still, especially when I'm in a group of chefs, like it's this thing that you're supposed to be doing, like eat the eyeballs, eat the liver, and eat the heart, and eat all of the things because I get
Tail
it.
to snout.
I get it. I will do it, but all of us have our own preferences.
Yeah.
We do, and that's okay. If I eat too much liver, it upsets my stomach.
Yeah.
And there's some other textural things that I'm not too fond of, like the eyeball.
Yeah. That seems...
I just can't adore the texture of the eyeball.
Yeah, that seems okay.
And sucking on chicken feet doesn't really seem like a really great use of my time.
That's the best way you could put that. I love...
I'm not gonna lie. So obviously I got to this point of knowing all of this stuff. I did go back down to Texas to go to culinary school.
Why? So Texas again, are you still looking for that cowboy?
I'm secretly probably, yes. I just didn't want to come back to Kansas.
Yeah.
My parents were like, hey, we have a great culinary school at Johnson County Community College. Would you please come back here? And I was like, no.
They do.
They do.
They do.
They have a great culinary program. And I was like, no, I don't want to come back. Like, no, please stop asking. And they understood. Okay, no problem. So I had some girlfriends that I loved their family. So they were like halfway between College Station and Houston. So I kind of had a second family already down there from my time at Texas A&M. So I felt a little bit safe in Houston.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So it was okay. So I went to Houston, not too fond of Houston. It's a little dirty, a little sprawled out. They have bugs the size of my fist down there, but it's okay. Had a great education.
It's okay because you can identify him.
I can totally identify him. I'm like, who needs a microscope? All you have to do is live in Houston. It's fine. And then from there, I just kind of traveled. So I went to New Hampshire and had a job for a little while. It was really funny. I went from the hottest summer in Houston to the coldest winter in New Hampshire.
Yeah. I would not like that.
Yeah.
That's my entire, I want to get out of Kansas only to get out of the winter.
Oh, yeah.
That's the whole goal.
Yes. I completely concur with that statement right there. Completely. So then North Carolina, South Carolina, Arizona, California, and just kind of picking up odd jobs and staging and working wherever I could. And I came back to Kansas City. I had a business plan. I never, at some, young age of 22, 23, it never occurred to me if I had a business plan and I opened up a business, that meant that I would have to stick with that business. Never occurred to me whatsoever.
I think that's kind of great though. Because once again, that goes into that, just going with the flow, letting things change. Because I think sometimes I'll get stuck in an idea of what I've decided is the path. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And this is the thing I am going to do. It's going to go A, B, C, D.
Yes.
And if I A, B have happened and then C isn't happening, I'll just be no, I've got to force C. Like, that's what I've got to do.
Right. And
So
it never happens.
Yeah. Sometimes
Ever.
it doesn't happen.
I know.
So,
Or it happens like wildly different. You're
yeah.
like, wow, I never.
I never would have thought that was the way that was going to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Super frustrating.
Yes.
Yeah. Super frustrating. Yeah. So I had this wonderful business plan, and it was kind of to be
When was this? I'm just intrigued.
Oh my God. So I made this business plan when I was 20.
Okay.
Which was only, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You can Google my birth date if you really want to. So when was that? 2000? So I made the business plan when I was, in 2000, and I kind of sat on it for a little while. Because I didn't know if it would work, but it was a social club, kind of a private club. Think Great Gatsby, where you had to be on the list to be invited, and the idea was that we would do wine dinners, and there would be a pre-fee menu set all the time, and it would just kind of be this kind of free-spirited kind of zone where you can just enjoy. Not a restaurant per se, because you prepaid.
Yeah.
Your reservation was your prepayment. So all of those unknowns of the restaurant were cut out. And I thought it was a great business model.
What about that, creating that environment was what called out to you? Like, what do you think made you want to create that environment?
Oh,
you know what I mean? Because, like, wanting to curate a space in a certain way is so particular. And I feel like there had to have been some sort of thing that you saw a need or a desire for that kind of structure to a space.
There is something so magical when people gather around a table. And when people gather around food, it is something so magical, because we said at the very beginning, everyone has to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if you hate each other. Guess what you have in common?
Everyone eats.
Everyone eats.
Yeah.
Everyone does. And to bring magic back to food and back to that situation, and happiness and joy. And it's not because someone is getting married.
Yeah.
It's not because a birthday. It's just because you want a little joy. It's just because this is life. It's just because. And to have that, and I'm not talking, completely irresponsible like the movie The Great Gatsby.
Yeah.
I'm talking just an energy exchange and a space and an area where there are no cell phones. There are no distractions. It's a place where
you wanted a place for
no
people
separation.
To gather.
Yeah. There is no separation. It is a gathering space. It is attention to the other human that's across the table from you, or the other humans.
So that's what you're talking about is so interesting to me, because I've become very interested in the idea of a third space. I don't know if you know the concept of third spaces.
Keep going. Keep going.
So naturally we all have generally about three spaces we live within. The first space is your home.
Mm-hmm.
It's where you live. It's where you reside. Everyone knows what a home is. I don't need to define home.
Yeah.
The other place is your work.
Uh-huh.
It's where you go when you work, obviously. And then beyond those two places, humans really need a third place, a gathering space.
Yes.
And that's what church serves for most people.
Okay.
Theater can be that. The mall can be that. Mm-hmm. The movie, like, it's any place where people come together.
Yes.
And the best third spaces are third spaces that inspire conversation,
mm-hmm.
Inspire camaraderie, mm-hmm. and are create an equal playing field of some kind.
Yes.
Because anywhere where there's like some sort of disparity between two people, it disturbs the third space.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And so like I'm so intrigued by that because I feel like there aren't many good
third spaces. So yeah, that was my vision.
Yeah.
It is a third space.
Yeah, that's exactly like, yeah, you were describing it perfectly. I was like, oh my God, I wonder if she's like on this wavelength with me of there's no third space.
Yeah. So, and as a chef and as a business owner and just as me and my interfacing, to be able to provide a third space, I receive that energy back. And so it's automatically nourishing for me to be present and to share my gift of food with the people. Like I was like, this is awesome. Mm-hmm. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to create. This just makes complete and total sense to me.
Yeah.
So we were on that path. We were on that pathway. It was awesome. We were getting there. We were doing more and more wine dinners and, the events were trickling in and it was amazing. And we made some memories, in a beautiful place that looks like a baby castle. And then the economy collapsed in 2008. Whoa, that's a tough one. Yeah. They say that it's one of the toughest and we're still kind of recovering from it, which is, I get it. It's only been 11 years. Yeah. So I get it. And we made it, very, by the hair on our chin, we made it. And so that was very interesting to go through. So then we had to reevaluate, okay, if people didn't care about that third space, man. They were like, we need
work.
We need work.
We need work.
Or where did our home go?
Yeah. Yeah, so, people had lost their spaces 1 and 2.
Right.
The third one, like it's the third one. It's the extra.
Like they're like, whoa, what's going on? Yeah. So then I took in a lot more weddings, everybody was scrambling. And so here it is in 2012, 2013, something like that. And so obviously I have this yearning to provide food for people in a different capacity. And along those, somewhere in there, I got really sick. My health deteriorated. Funny, when your exterior environment isn't quite zen. Yeah. How your body does not like it and will tell you. And I fixed it with food, which is cool. I changed my diet, altered it. It only took a year, but that's fine. And I mean, that's another gift is now I have that interfacing. So we changed our business. I changed my diet and my lifestyle. And then 2012, 2013 rolls around and I'm like, I'm sitting across the table from a bride who I'm asking her about what food she would like to provide for her guests, thinking about that third space. Yeah. Like this is an amazing gift that you're going to give to your guest and thank them for being here. And she just whips around to me and she goes, I don't care as long as it doesn't suck.
Wow.
Oh, like dagger through my heart. Oh my gosh, you did not just say that. Oh, wow. So I had to excuse myself from the meeting.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, somebody's marrying her? This is incredible. Oh my gosh. There is hope for me after all. And then I'm in business with my mom. She's a great business person. She's a straight line thinker. I'm curvy. It works out awesome. So, after the meeting, my mom comes back and she's like, are you doing okay? I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Yeah. I can't because I have sought out farmers to help me with all the food. And this person, like I could give her beanie weenies and she's perfectly fine. Yeah. There's like nothing wrong with beanie weenies. Trust me, nothing. But, I'm like, I just can't do this. This isn't what I provide. This is no longer a gift. Like I can't do this. I cannot do this. So then I switched over my business plan again. I was like, let's look at doing a restaurant. Like, here's the numbers. I think that we can do this. Let's push for it. And then I altered it to the farm to table restaurant.
So this is where it became Harvest.
Yes.
And so that came out of like a lot of like your personal health and fixing yourself through
Yeah.
food.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then establishing all of those relationships with the local farmers
Yeah.
and really understanding maybe our health would improve and the soil would improve if we paid homage to the wisdom of Mother Nature.
Oh, yeah, because we don't listen to that at all.
Right.
Like, the food we eat is barely food. The stuff most people put in their bodies.
Right. So what if I could provide maybe not necessarily a third space, but something similar to a third space until people are willing to
if they're getting nutrients and like sustenance to survive,
yes,
they don't even need a third space.
Yes.
Like...
Yeah. So that's when we opened up Harvest in 2013, something like that. 12,
I think
13,
2012
like
is I think what I found on the internet.
Look at you. Thank you. Oh,
I've got a lot of notes.
I love this. This is awesome.
Yeah.
So 2012 we opened. And it was cool. It was definitely another learning curve. Like same amount of stress, but different type of stress because I could always count on it. Like I knew when the stress was going to hit. And it was good, but still yearning to make a bigger and greater impact with the food and to see the world and to learn more and more and more and more. Like I still want to learn more about food. I want to learn more about the soil. I want to learn more about health. I want to learn more about our bodies. I want to learn more about third spaces. You know, I just want to learn more.
Well, because so that's how I guess I first came to know you.
Yes.
Was as like the person who cares about the food that's set in front of you.
Yes.
Like down to where it came from. And
absolutely.
How important it is to eat what's around you and eat seasonally and all of these things. And I think that's such an important thing, but such a hard thing. Like
so hard, and it shouldn't be. So what's been interesting for me is when did the shift happen?
Yeah.
That knowing where our food came from and having and honoring our innate wisdom is hard.
Yeah. And having a relationship with where our food comes from
is hard.
Because we've totally lost that.
Right. When did we give it up?
Yeah.
And why did we give it up? And so now that we are figuring out how to take it back.
And did we gain anything? Because the answer is no.
No, we totally didn't gain anything. We did not gain anything.
So much.
and you know, I can get into many conversations, but when it boils down to it, it's a supply and demand economy.
Yeah.
And
that's what capitalism is.
That's what capitalism is. And so it boils down to our dollar. And I don't make a whole hell of a lot of money. But you know what? I never, when it comes to food and the nutrition, for me, that is where, yes, I budget.
Yeah.
But that's one of those things that I am always mindful.
It's a priority.
It is a priority. Yeah. And I have really great health.
Yeah.
And does it correlate? Probably. Yeah. But I also do yoga and meditation and things like that. But instead of spending so much money on classes and all of the other things that I could.
And you could save a lot on like your health care.
Yes.
By just putting it into what you put in your
body. And being mindful of it. And I'm okay with spending the extra dollar because it's an investment in my system that takes me everywhere on the earth. Yeah,
I mean, it's an investment in your body and it's an investment in like the world we live in.
Yeah.
And the way that we're taking care of our planet.
Yes.
And I just watched your episode of your podcast where you talked to Michael Faust.
Michael Faust.
Yeah.
He's my kitchen husband. Yes.
yeah. And so that's like exactly what that conversation culminates in, is discussing how important where you
Mhm.
spend your dollar is.
Yeah, because those people are stewards of the soil.
Yeah.
And if we keep spending money with people who are taking care of the soil and are mindful of the soil, then they will keep teaching others.
Yeah.
And they will keep producing amazing food for us.
Yeah.
And that's really important because we have one earth, we have one body, so we might as well take care of it.
Yeah, I mean, it terrifies me just thinking of like all the foods that I've put in my body and like how they're like it's chemically designed to make me put more garbage into my body.
Isn't that crazy?
And it's not even food like
I know, it's
like
crazy.
Like a can of Coca-Cola is just chemicals designed to make me addicted to Coca-Cola.
It's crazy, right?
It's not even like enjoyable in any way.
No.
It's a chemical that it's caffeine.
Yeah.
That's addicting, and then they put a bunch of salt in it to make you drink more, and then they cover that with sugar so it doesn't taste like garbage.
I know.
But that's just making me fatter, and like I just it stresses me out and bothers me so much.
It's amazing, right? You have to look back at it and be like, oh my gosh. And then, body, thank you so much for putting up with me. Like, oh my gosh, you're so awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing the garbage we can put in this thing and it doesn't just like
it
fall
doesn't
apart.
Shut down. I know. It's just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're in a very interesting time right now where there's so much shift and changing and moving in the earth with our bodies, with food, and it's really important that we pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And it's our opportunity to make different choices. And it's our opportunity to keep making those different choices on a second by second basis.
Yeah.
I think if we, and I've said this multiple times in almost everywhere that I go, like if we snack 5 times a day, 365 days a year, that's roughly like 1,800 opportunities for change and choice.
Yeah.
1,800.
Yeah.
That's like a whole lot of change. And so why not? Even just half of it.
I mean, I'm just hoping that maybe like every like third I make an okay decision.
Third.
Like
every third, every third, let's like do
I feel
something
like
a little bit different.
I have a terrible relationship with food. Oh my God. I have the worst. Me and food are not like
You're not cohesive.
No, we're in an abusive relationship with each other. It's not going well. Like some days I'm trying to convince myself like, no, it's just food is energy that I need to eat this.
Sometimes
because,
that's okay.
And like it doesn't need to taste good. You've just got to eat like the stuff that like, and so like that's like one day, and then the next day it's like, no, I'm just gonna eat the garbage that's cheap.
It's okay.
And then there is oh God, it's bad.
It's okay. And then also, what if there was like no perspective or judgment or conclusion about food too? What if you took that away from it also?
Yeah, because then I also, like, every day there's a new article. It's like, this is the food you shouldn't eat. And I'm like, damn that. Okay. How do I put that into the algorithm of feeding my body?
What if you just ask your body? Because sometimes your body wants a freaking M&M. Sometimes it's like, man, I need some sugar right now. Like, I am on low to no fuel. I need a little of an impact right now.
Yeah.
That doesn't, I'm sure that, then after like 6 of them, hopefully if you're very mindful, it'll be like, okay, I'm done.
Right,
I'm done with that. That's enough.
Yeah.
Now I would like chicken and some green beans, please.
Yeah.
But it's that whole paying attention and listening to. And sometimes it's interesting if you've ever, now this is going into like wild and crazy stuff. If you've ever seen people who are on a diet, like a really strict diet, and they immediately have judgment on whether or not their lettuce is organic. And you're like, why are you judging the lettuce? Like, it's a piece of lettuce. Like, back off of the lettuce. Like, it's not gonna make or break your diet.
Your entire world.
Like, don't worry about it. Like, stop stressing about it.
Yeah.
And because even that teeny tiny stressor, it's the same stress. It releases the same type of stress hormones.
Oh my God.
Like, stop judging your lettuce for crying out loud.
I spend so much of my time and give over so much anxiety and stress to my food.
Oh my gosh, stop it.
Like,
stop it.
It's so much of my day is spent thinking about that and trying to figure out how to like
No.
Oh yeah.
What if every single bite was yummy and orgasmic?
That would be great. But
Every bite.
But like sometimes I want Taco Bell and that's yummy and orgasmic.
Then-
but like it's not
then
good and I
just-
know that.
No, but that's okay. If you want Taco Bell, slow down. When you slow down and eat it and be like, this is so yummy.
This one's true. That's
Every
a good
bite,
way to think about
this
it.
is so yummy.
That's also you just mentioned something that's so crazy to me is how we take meals in America.
Oh, do we take meals or do we
No.
just shove meals?
Yeah. Yes.
Like, why don't we just blend them up and drink them through a straw?
We should at this
Right.
Yeah. Because the idea of sitting and taking time for a meal seems selfish.
True.
Which is insane.
We always have something to do. We need to be working on it.
Which is insane.
I know.
Because like we've said throughout this whole conversation, the only thing a human has to do to survive is eat.
Yeah, I know. And that was part of that third space that I wanted to create.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's part of harvest is having a good place to eat a good sustaining meal.
Yeah.
It's actually feeding a person.
Yeah, there's something about walking in. Okay. If you put on, let's say, a pot roast in the morning,
Yeah.
okay? And you work all day long. There's something about coming home and you first crack open the door and you smell the smell.
Mhm.
Oh my
It's the best moment
gosh,
in
it
the
is
world.
the best smell in the world.
Yeah.
Immediately
You start
your
salivating.
Mouth,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
You start salivating and you just can hardly wait. Your work drops away from you. You put your briefcase down, your computer goes away, you walk into the kitchen, maybe you pour yourself a glass of wine. Everything, your entire focus shifts.
Yeah.
And you recognize, I am at home. I would like to cook maybe some vegetables or some rice or potatoes or whatever that is. Everybody who walks through that door now is centered around the hearth, and it shifts everything, right?
That's one of my favorite moments in a day is anytime I cook and somebody walks in the door and goes, "Oh, it smells so good in here." Nothing feels better than that moment.
Nothing feels better.
Oh my God.
Because it just shifts everything.
Yeah.
So if we don't have that, the olfactory senses, if we don't have that when we're getting ready to sit down and eat, right?
Yeah.
So do we really digest the food?
Oh.
If we don't have the first little nuances of the smells and the, that time period, do we really? Because isn't that
a part of the experience?
Isn't that a part of it? Because we literally, our saliva changes when we smell that great food.
Yeah.
And then we sit down and we actually take time to eat. We don't shovel it in.
We're supposed to take time to eat.
What?
What? What?
I just am really concerned. And then there's a whole bunch of people having digestive issues. You've seen all the ads on television with IBS and all these people have colon cancer and they're getting their colons taken out. And I'm like, don't get your colon taken out, please. That's a vital thing that you require.
I have a friend who is in the bathroom all the time. And I'm like, dude, just the way you eat, just change it a little bit. Just a little,
take some digestive enzymes and probiotics. They're two different things. Take them both.
Yeah. And just, quit eating all the greasy fast food you eat, man. Stop it. And sometimes you eat stuff that you obviously can't handle spicy wise.
Yeah.
Because you just can't do it.
Take a note.
Or just take note, less spice, less grease. The chicken wings every time I hang out with you, quit doing it.
Just stop.
Mm-hmm. Eat a salad.
Maybe some roughage.
Have some greens. I don't know. Just take note. And he's like, yeah, probably. And I was like, and he's like, well, it's been like this my whole life. I'm like, well, yeah, but it doesn't have to be.
It's just a little change.
That's not how the human body should be.
Yeah. It's telling you to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I learned that because we'd hang out and I'd be like, oh, do you want to grab some food? And he'd be like, yeah, sure. What do you want? And I'd list things oh, I can't go there unless I want to go poop afterwards. Want to meet. And I'm like, How many and I realized every restaurant I would say is like, oh, well, afterwards you have to go to the bathroom. I was like,
maybe
you've
we should
got,
change what you
y-
order.
yeah.
I don't know. What do you eat when you're not at a restaurant?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
he doesn't, I don't know, he doesn't cook.
Well, there's that
A lot of
too.
people don't cook anymore.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
Which is really weird. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
There's kitchens on purpose.
Well, I mean, there are now apartments in New York you can buy that don't have kitchens at all. Did you not know that? You didn't know that?
What? Oh my God! Dagger through my heart.
Yeah. You can buy an apartment in New York that doesn't even
Do they have like an Easy Chef, like a little like microwavable unit that's in there or
I
something?
think they've got like a microwave,
Ugh.
but there's not like a whole there's not a kitchen. There's no kitchen area. It's to save space, and because you're gonna eat out anyway, you're in New York. Like you don't need the kitchen space. Apparently.
Okay.
Oh no! I just killed.
Oh, that's
Renee
okay.
Kelly.
Just a little bit of me died. It's fine.
Because we don't appreciate food anymore.
I guess not. Oh, wow. Okay, fine. Fine. Whoever said that was okay, fine. I'll talk to you later. Maybe I'll see you in hell.
You've got a whole new mission is to find that
God.
person.
Yes, I'll find you. Trust me, you're on my hunting list.
Yeah. The way we treat food is just insane.
It's a little crazy. It's very important. Our bodies are like a well-tuned mechanism.
Yeah.
So, like, the sooner that we pick up on not dumbing down our mechanism, I think the better we're gonna be.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's such a funny, odd thing because like I stress about food a lot, but I decided recently I was gonna start buying this other I'm gonna spend money on bread. I don't know why I was like, I want this nice
better bread.
I want this nicer bread, and every time I buy it, it makes me happy, and every time I eat it, it makes me happy.
Yes.
Where I didn't have that with bread before, so like, why was I buying that bread?
I know.
Like, get the things that bring you joy.
Get the things
like
that
I'm
bring
into
you
Marie
joy.
Kondo right now. Like it's all about the joy. Even
It
like with the
is.
food, figure out what brings you the joy.
Yes.
And get the thing that actually brings you joy, not the fake joy that like Coke brings.
No.
Because that's a lie.
It is a lie.
That's fake happiness chemically programmed into it.
It is.
By scary scientists.
Totally scary scientists. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. They're doing their job of making the maze very difficult.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Yeah, the joy. Lots of food can bring you joy. One of my favorite things is, I'll grow radish or, little.
So do you grow a lot of your own?
I used to. I travel. Now I travel quite
too
a
much.
bit. But
Yeah.
one of my favorite things is to watch low. I call that low maintenance gardening. So radish and some herbs and beets and carrots.
That's what I've got.
and things
Herbs.
like
I
that.
have basil. I have cilantro.
Yeah.
I think I have oregano. I don't know. I don't actually know what it is. It was like
Yeah.
there was another plant that was growing out of the cilantro I bought, and I was like, I'll get it into something. And it kind of tastes like
Yeah.
oregano when I put it in my mouth. I was like, I'm
there
gonna
you
call it
go.
oregano
Let's
for now.
call it oregano. It'll
Yeah.
be fine.
Yeah.
If it works for you, it'll
Yeah.
be great. And one of my favorite things is to, plant it and watch it and take care of it, and then to pull it out of the ground. It's like the most rewarding thing in the world.
Yeah, growing your own food is so crazy.
Yes. Now, all of you farmers and gardeners that do it on a larger scale, you guys rock,
Yes.
because it is
So much work.
so much work. So thank you for doing it.
Yeah.
For sure, thank you for doing it.
Yeah. And like I tried growing some stuff on the side of the house, and it did not. It went mediocre.
Not your thing.
We grew some stuff. It was just so much work, and so many things would like eat it, and it was just
Right?
But the ones I got to eat that I grew,
Awesome.
there's nothing better than that feeling.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
1 year, my blueberry tree bush. See,
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
having,
bush.
It's a bush.
I think that's a bush.
I think so. 4 blueberries.
But were they the best 4 blueberries
They were
ever?
the best 4 blueberries ever.
Yeah. And like
It was
whenever
awesome.
like I have a friend who gives me a thing that's like my dad grew this, or like I grew like
yes.
That's the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
Strawberry season. Mm.
So that's all. I'll ask that, and we'll kind of like wrap this up. I guess
Cool.
is you eat a lot of things. You talk about eating locally
Yes.
and eating seasonally.
Yes.
How hard is that?
Not.
Oh, really?
But really? Okay. So go to the farmers markets, talk to all of your farmers. So
Okay.
Kansas City actually has quite a few farmers markets, which
Even
is great.
so that was my other thought was eating locally in Kansas. We have a lot of very cold months.
Yes, we do. How do we do that?
What do you eat in that time?
Okay. So, unfortunately, our farmers markets are closed during the winter time. But things that are still in season that they grow, because they extend the seasons with hot houses and hoop houses.
Yeah.
You're going to be looking at kale, microgreens, sweet potatoes, regular potatoes, beets, carrots, things like that.
Wow.
Yeah. And then also things that can keep in your cellar. So like the last farmer's market, which I think is in late October, November, or something like that. You're going to find a lot of root vegetables, rutabaga, turnip, parsnip, sweet potatoes. And then your last what I call late summer harvest in October, tons of peppers and tomatoes and squash, like hard squash. Preserve them. Have a packing party, and have a packing party, and make huge batches of sauces and keep them in your cupboard. And you'll have amazing meals throughout the wintertime.
Okay.
The toughest time is actually right now. It's in March and the beginning of April.
Because nothing's grown yet.
Nothing has grown yet. That is the toughest time.
So what are you eating right now?
So spinach. Spinach is coming up right now. Some radishes, microgreens, things like that, like the real light, airy type of springtime stuff. But they're, those are in hot houses and hoop houses.
And then meats, are you buying local meats even? Or how do you
how do you do that whole thing?
All that?
Oh yeah. So
so it is a bit of
difficult. It's much easier spring, summer, fall. It's much easier.
Because you've got the farmer's market.
Yeah. You have the farmer's market.
Yeah.
But chock your freezer full of you always have ground beef, you have grass-fed beef, chicken, turkey. There's a couple of places that sell turkey, and there's duck. Barham Family Farms does ducks.
Oh wow.
And they do have a home delivery service, which is great. They just started that last year. I'm like, what? And there's plenty of people who do eggs.
Yeah.
And some cheeses too. So there's lots to choose from. It's just
just about connecting with those people.
It's there's Kansas City Food Circle that has a really good resource. They have lists upon lists upon lists of people and farmers in the area and the surrounding Kansas City area too. And they kind of go out. It's a cool organization. They go out and kind of inspect the farms and just kind of make sure that they are tried and true and they're authentic. This is my produce. This, this is the meat that I provide. So they're kind of cool. Because sometimes, farming is a business and sometimes people will supplement.
Yeah.
And that's just not being authentic. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Kansas City Food Circle is good. Kenny Barham's good. But all of the farmers, just look at the Kansas City Food Circle list and you can kind of connect with them. And sometimes the farmers will come to the city on certain dates during the winter and you can just pick up some produce and meats and things like that with them. And then farmers market should be starting soon. Cross the fingers. And then it's just all about rotational eating. And it's great since we do have distinct seasons. Food allergies, if you really eat what is seasonal
Yeah.
should subside because you're constantly rotating.
Interesting.
So I have a interesting point of view about food allergies and sensitivities, that when your body has had enough, kind of like your friend
Yeah.
that eats like
he
like
needs to quit eating
the
spicy
oil and the
foods
spice.
and the oil. Yeah.
Like at some point probably didn't have that violent of a reaction.
Probably.
So I think that our bodies are okay with foods
Yeah.
for a certain time period, and then it's like, nope,
Yeah.
I'm done, and it starts giving you little warning
Well,
signals.
even like I have a small dairy allergy. Is how I tell it to people, because if I have too much dairy, I can feel my throat closing up. I can't swallow. It's not good.
Yeah.
But they're always like, well, I saw you eat cheese on this the other day, or I saw you eat a slice of pizza. I'm like, well, yeah, but I know my body.
Right.
I know how much dairy I can have before I have a reaction.
Yes.
Like my body knows what it can handle.
Yes.
And I know that. But
I can't have cow dairy every day.
Yeah.
But if it manages to be on a salad that I didn't know it was going to be on it, and I hadn't had cow dairy in a couple of weeks, I'm not going to die.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of how I roll with it. Yeah. So with living in a place that has distinctive seasons, it's very easy to shift.
So that's actually better for you.
So much better.
Interesting.
It's very easy to shift everything that you're eating and get the nutrients from all of those different vegetables at the same time that the earth provides it. Because if it does good right now, it's probably going to do good for your body right now, because it's like
the earth kind of provides
the earth provides
us.
for you.
Yeah.
Like if it is getting the nutrients from the earth, then you should probably have
like
those
we
nutrients.
were made to be here on this planet, and the stuff
Yes.
for us it's growing
provided,
in the ground.
like here, it's
provided.
the coolest situation ever. Like, hey guys, we're gonna drop you down on this like blue and green planet, and everything is provided for you.
Yeah.
All you have to do is not screw it up.
Yeah, just don't kill it, and it'll all grow.
It'll all grow for you.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a cool place that we have the opportunity to have these 4 seasons. And so if we just kind of pay attention and rotate around, and also talk to the farmers as well whenever you go to the farmers market. But yeah. It is okay, fine. It is a little bit more difficult in the winter. You are correct. You are correct. But it also
doable.
can be fun.
It's doable.
And it is doable as well.
Yeah.
And if you get a group of friends together, that will go in with you on a big old crate of tomatoes when they're in high season, and the farmers
and they're so much better than too. Oh my gosh.
They're so much better. The farmers will have bruised, they'll call them seconds.
Yeah.
Great. Like get a group of friends together and then make a huge batch of tomato sauce.
Yeah.
And jar it, and then, each of you get 6 jars or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Same thing with fruits, peaches and apples and
so do you do a lot of canning then? Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
Yeah. That way you have them, and it's an awesome way to still eat seasonally. And it's interesting because in the winter, the things that you do to preserve the fruits and vegetables, like you'll add some vinegar. Yeah. Actually helps you break down the heavy meats that you'll crave in the wintertime.
Yeah. Okay.
It's interesting.
That's crazy how that all works out.
The sauerkraut and all of that will help you digest all of the extra fatty pieces of meat that you'll crave. So it's really interesting how it all
like
kind
we
of...
were made to do it that way or something. It's weird.
Yeah. Food is kind of cool.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, so you have so much going on, it seems like, though, coming up in this year. Am I right?
Yes.
So because you just started the podcast.
I just started the podcast, Playing with Fire. Whoop.
Yeah.
We talk about everything from entrepreneurialism to food to farming.
Yeah.
To digestion. I just had a conversation about colon healthcare.
I'll send it to my buddy.
Yeah, please share that. Then I do some consulting
Yeah.
about farm to table and the usage of cross utilization of product. I have a pet treat company.
A what?
Pet treat
Oh,
company.
okay.
I know. I
Cool.
know, right? Um,
Where can you find that? Like, where can I find pet
well,
treats?
currently,
Yeah.
you can just send me an email at alfietreats
Okay.
at gmail.com. It
What started
is,
that?
I know.
Is it just
So
another one of those things that
it's
just
just another one of
energetically?
those things. The energy pulled and nudged. So the main treat, I have two main treats, and this is crazy. Is a anti-inflammatory horse treat.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a treat that is given to
Given to
horses.
horses, not made of
It is
horses.
not made of horses. Let me just make that clear. And
I was with you.
okay, cool. And it's made from whole product. And that hopefully I'm meeting with manufacturers next week to get that
Wow.
worked out, which is awesome. And it's made for show horses and then like polo horses, race horses, which is great. And then the other main treat that I'm doing and figuring out a different way to manufacture it so it's easier for the user and the eater, the dog, is bone broth.
Okay.
But it's formulated for dogs and cats to help with inflammation, digestion, all of that stuff.
Yeah. I've
Just
heard so much about bone broth recently and how great it is for everyone.
It is, and especially dogs and cats because they are meant to eat. Raw animals.
I love the people that are all that think that they need more corn and grain in their dog food and their cat food.
I know.
And I'm like, what do you think? How many wolves do you see in the cornfields just eating the corn?
The corn. Straight off the cob.
Yeah.
None of them. They're actually
Oh my
there
God.
eating the pheasants and
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So anyway, that's those are the two
Those are what
products that
you're-
it's starting with, and then I have a whole tier of products that will be launched shortly thereafter.
So once again, like just talking about like you're energetically just like I'm so jealous of your like entrepreneurship energy because like you keep getting into these different like venues and they're all things that like happen to just like poof work out and make money though. Where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna like just go do stand up, which doesn't make it, like, you know what I mean? Like everything I just like is the new thing I find energetically is like I'm gonna do a podcast and I'll talk to these wonderful people and I love it.
Yeah.
But like it's not gonna sell like a treat for a dog. Like I should have learned to cook, is what I'm saying. I went to art school for the wrong thing. I should have realized I needed to learn to cook.
Well, there's still some pros and cons, we'll see. So hopefully it'll all work out. And it's ever changing. And I think that that's one major thing that I've learned in my later years of being an entrepreneur is the ability to shift and change and move with the request and with the times is probably more important now so than ever. Especially, I mean, like social media. Who knew that podcasting would be a thing? Also.
Yeah.
Like, who knew that?
Yeah. I have a stand-up joke about the fact that like I have a podcast and like if I have an old enough audience, I need to explain to them what a podcast is.
I know.
And
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like all of it is so crazy to me.
Yeah.
And I'm old enough that I have to explain to somebody that I did not have internet.
Yeah.
Like in part of my life, I did not have internet. Like I did not know what that was.
Yeah.
Like people will look at me like, no.
But like you could still use Google, right?
Right? Right. Like, no, this is crazy. But, and it's fun being an entrepreneur, but you are absolutely right. As long as there are boundaries with, what will this create back for me?
Yeah.
And there are some things that are very enriching that doesn't necessarily have money attached to it.
Monetary, visible reward back to it.
Yeah.
But.
And then there's other things where I'm like, you know what? No, for me to do this, I have to get money
Yeah.
in the return.
Yeah.
And that's where cooking is for me right now, is that third space that I so
Yeah.
yearn to create. I found a niche, and that's cooking for people 10 or less in their homes to help them create that third space.
That's great.
But I don't do it for little money
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
There's a price for me to do that, and there's a price for me to create that. And I'm slowly finding that people will pay for it.
Yeah.
But these other projects are really fun, and they're yielding some return.
And there's also the project that like would yield more money, but you're like, no, that's not what
I do.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, and it's fun finding that out too.
Yeah.
It's fun, like kind of stretching out.
And learning
Maybe I
where
should
the
call
space
it,
you feel
like
good.
the yoga of entrepreneurialism.
Yeah, entrepreneurial yoga.
Thanks for having me. This is
Yeah.
fun.
No, this has been great. Yeah. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
You also have a book? Is that
Oh my gosh, yes, I'm
should I
working
tell
on
you
the
about
book. I'm working on the book. Thank you for
Okay.
bringing that up. So
Yeah.
it is basically all of the journeys,
Okay.
all of the story.
Because you get a little bit in this podcast right now, but
Yep.
you're not going to get what a book can give you.
Yep. Working on the book. And it's crazy.
Coming late 2019?
I hope so.
Okay.
I hope so.
Me too.
It is, I will tell you that it starts with a grease fire in my mother's kitchen
Oh,
when I was 8 years old.
okay. What made you want to write a book? Like,
Because people are so fascinated by all of the stories.
yeah, that's true.
And also they are just as fascinated why I would shift from cooking in a castle and having a restaurant and not wanting to do it anymore.
I think that was I've watched little bits of a lot of your episodes of your podcast
Yes.
instead of watching like all of it.
That's okay.
But the strength to walk away from your business was
Ah,
such a great and important, like as an entrepreneur
Thank
myself,
you.
like I think that's a really great
Thank
episode,
you.
just by the way.
Oh, thank you very much.
So just kind of compliment.
Thank you. That just gave me the chills. Therefore, a long time, and I still kind of get it. I had strangers walk up to me and tell me that I was a failure.
It's so, yeah.
And I was like, hold the phone. Like, I'm sorry, what was your name?
Yeah.
You know,
Who
like,
are you?
Who are you again?
Yeah.
And it became, my skin became leathery after so many people would say that. And I'm like, you have no idea that it was actually my decision
to change the journey.
to change the journey. And that takes so much strength
Yeah.
to say thank you. I am so grateful. I'm overwhelmed. Like, who not only has a restaurant and is supported by the entire city, but it is inside of 110-year-old castle.
Yeah.
You know, and I get to have all of these relationships with farmers, is blessed enough with the entire support of my personal community to gain enough awareness to say, now it's time to do something different.
Yeah.
I feel so honored, but to be able to explain that to somebody who thinks that it's a failure.
Yeah. Anytime you like, as an entrepreneur, have to change or pivot or decide you're going to let go of a piece of something to make something else succeed, that piece is always going to in some way, like, to someone look like you quit. But it's no, I chose that this wasn't gonna be the thing for now.
Yeah.
And there are other more important journeys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that has been a really interesting shift.
Yeah.
And I've learned so much about human behavior. Oh my gosh. I'm like, and that is also in the book as well. Like that, what that is all about, and the perceptions of people. And I'm just like, what? Like, how? I didn't even think that you guys existed. Like, what? And and not as in, like humanity, but their thoughts.
Yeah.
And so
I couldn't even imagine someone would think that way.
I'm like, I am so far away from how you think. Like, I don't even, who brought you up? Like, what, change your television shows, like what? So that's in the book as well. Just kind of that whole perception of it. And I do have somebody helping me write because as you can tell from this podcast, my brain like ping pongs around all the time. And my lovely writer is just so calm and cool and collected. And she just is like, no, we got this.
So did you decide I should write a book, or did somebody like come to you saying you should write a book? How did it?
Both.
Okay.
Both. And years ago, somebody asked me to write a book purely centered around my health and my health story. And I started it. Man, that's some dark years of my life. Whew.
Yeah.
Dark. Interesting enough, those dark years of my life, like that struggle, I get more comments on than I do like my bright and shiny and my chipper and my bubbly and the successes, which I find an interesting part of psychology. Like that's very interesting. I will speak about my health.
Yeah.
And I'll probably eventually get some paperwork and PDFs and all that down somewhere. But after rereading that part of my life,
it's not what you want to focus on. It's not where you put your energies.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. At some point I will write about it in a not so much of a victim viewpoint.
Yeah.
Because I wrote about it when I was in it. And it was rough. Yeah. Man, it was rough. And I get it and I understand it, and it has allowed me to have an empathetic viewpoint, which I think that a lot of people who are in a similar situation are very void of empathy.
Yeah.
When you've seen 30 doctors and you have zero response, you have zero change, you have zero answers, that sucks. It really sucks. So I do have empathy. And whenever that book is ready to be written, I will write it.
Yeah.
But it will be from a different perspective, looking in with definitive, honest answers.
Yeah.
But not from
the person who's in it,
not
struggling
from the hole,
through it.
not from the hole.
Yeah.
It'll be.
I'm on the other side of it.
Yeah.
Here's what guided me through, and here are the answers.
Yes.
That helped me.
Exactly. Yeah. But in order to write that book, there is the first one that will be a bridge. Like, hey guys, you all know me as this person. These are my shifts and changes and moves, and this is why I am choosing to shift and change and move. And, then I can go into a little bit more of food as health and the healing aspect and whatever next is calling me. I mean, the universe is pretty cool.
Something different's gonna happen.
I know. Yeah. So, I mean, who knows? I might learn how to talk to fish on my next scuba diving trip. You never know.
Yeah.
This is kind of how it's gonna flow.
Well, I'm excited to see what happens.
Okay, cool.
I'm definitely gonna be still following you.
Okay, well, I'll definitely be still following you and seeing all of your awards that you're going to get.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, well, who knows what goes on? Who knows? It'll be interesting.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
See? Don't you love her now? I love her. I just absolutely love her. She's amazing. And she biked to my house. Do you remember that? She biked to my house. Still blown away. Make sure you check her out. She's always got tons going on. I mean, we talked about it in the interview, how many crazy things she has going on. Listen to her podcast, Playing with Fire. It is very insightful. And make sure that you click subscribe to this podcast. Make sure you click that subscribe button, rate, review it, tell your friends about it. The more the people know about it, the more that you'll get wonderful podcast content from IX Productions, which is us, and who produces this podcast. Making the world a funnier place, one film at a time. That's our motto. That's our mission statement. And that's our goal in life, is to make this world better through our filmmaking and our other skills. And thank you so much for listening, and see you next time. Bye.